The end of the series. You've watched 14 videos. So before I show you how to turn the image sequence into a final video, I do want to say congratulations, because everyone says they want to learn new skills and very few people actually want to put in the time. So if you're watching this, you have clearly put in the time. So I mean that truly, well done. Now, if you are able to go from this series and then go off and create and get what you want out of Blender, then fantastic. But what I've learned over the years is that there is a percentage of people who want more. They want to know what tutorials to watch next to level up their career. So I am in the process of creating a Blender course for beginners. Special. So this is going to be for you guys, essentially, people who finish this course and then they want more. They want to know how do they do other parts of Blender beyond just a donut. So it's not available yet, but I'm looking to release it in early 2024 if I can. So if you want to be notified when it is available, click the link in the description and you can join a separate email list just for this course to be notified once it is available. It's not going to be free. It is going to be a paid course, but it is, for people who really want to take this seriously and make a career out of it. That is for you. So with that out of the way, now on to the tutorial. If you followed the last part correctly, you should find inside this folder 160 TIFF files, which are, you can open them individually and look at the images. But if you want to create a video, then this is what you do. If you're using this as part of another video project, then you might be using software like Premiere. I know that's not all of you, but I'll just quickly show you for those who want to use Premiere instead. You just click on the first image and then check image sequence. That'll import it and then just drag that into a new sequence, and there you go. And then you can just export that as you would anything in Premiere or edit it, etc. But if you want to use Blender, if you want to go the free route, there is actually a video editor inside of Blender. Now you can access it from inside here, but I actually find it easier and better to just create a new Blender instance. So for that, I go File, New, and then you can go General, but actually if you go Video Editing, then that will just set it up for you, ready to go, and it saves a bunch of time. This isn't like a special version of Blender or anything when you choose this. Like if you want to use, the standard Blender layout or whatever, it's still there. It's just it's created this video, like this screen layout and everything is already configured and ready to go for you. Anyways, so down here, this is your video editor. This is the sequence as it's called. And then up here is going to show you the video that it's displaying. So the first thing we need to do is load in that image sequence. So Shift A, hotkey, works all over Blender. Choose image sequence. Navigate to that folder where you have all of these TIFF files. And unlike Premiere where you select the first one and then import that, this one you need to select all of them. So the hotkey is just A to select everything. Hotkeys work everywhere across Blender. And then go Add Image Strip. Aha. Now you can see we've got this strip at the bottom here. And if we hit the space bar, we should see at the top the image sequence playing. Awesome. Now, it looks a little slow, and you'll see, actually, in the top left-hand corner, it's playing at 24 frames a second. And that's because although we set set it up as 30 frames a second. We just rendered that into the image sequence. Doesn't know what the frame rate is. The only reason we did that was so that when you're playing the animation in the viewport, it's actually at the correct speed. But to set it up here, you set your frame rate here from 24 to 30. And now if you play it, you'll see it's going at 30 frames a second. It's a little faster, it's a little smoother, and it looks good. Great. Now you can see it just kind of ends, right? Just goes into like blank. Nothing. And we don't want that. I want to really hold on this end frame because this is the important frame where all the donuts are revealed at the end there. And it's really easy to extend the last frame. You just click on the end of that strip at the bottom there till it lights up white. And then you can either click and drag out or hit the hotkey G to grab, and we can just move it all the way to the end. So 250, that's what the final, like the frame range here is, right? If you want it to be longer or shorter, you can change it there, but I'm gonna keep it at 250. So that means now it gets to the end and then it just holds here and lets you soak in those donuts. Cool. And this is fine. You could export this, but I also just want to have a nice fade out at the end because why not? Just learn about something in the video sequence editor. To do that, I'm going to go Shift A and then add in a color. And the color is already set up as black, so that's fine. So I'm just dragging it over the end here, and you can see it just jumps to the color because that's now over the top of that other strip. So it's reading top to bottom, so it's black is over the top. And instead of it being a jump cut to black, we obviously want to fade it. So to do that, just click that strip there, and then say Shift A, and then say Fade in. And you'll see it's hard to read here from this because it's got like black at the bottom. But there is actually, can I do that? I'm using the same hotkey Control middle mouse button as when we're using the graph editor. But you can see there is like a slight, like a little ramp up like that. That's just showing you it's fading in. But there you go, that's the fade in effect there. And what that is doing is it's just created a keyframe animation for this opacity slider to just do a very quick fade in there. But there you go. So now that's it. That's what we want. This is what we want to form into a video file, which we could upload to YouTube or Instagram or whatever. So to create that, here in your output settings, you want to again choose a folder that you want to save it to. I usually save it inside of the folder with the frames, and I just call it video and then say accept. Now, because we set this up as a new video editing file, it's automatically set the file format for us as FFmpeg video. And this is actually the most flexible. I've never needed AVI JPEG or RAW. It just creates those ginormous gigabyte files that you can never do anything with anyway. So FFmpeg is the one you want because it's got the most options. And go underneath encoding, and this is where you'll find all of your video settings for encoding. So the container, that is your, like, think of it as the file extension, right? So if it's a .mov file, that would be QuickTime. If it is a .mkv file, that annoying format that Premiere can't read, and it's supposed to be better than MP4s, but nothing can read it except VLC. Anyways, that would be Matroska. Matroska is the one. WebM, that's like a format that is becoming more common online. You could use that. Anyways, we're going to use MP4, so that's MPEG-4, because that's the most common one that most people need. Video codec, we're going to leave it at the default. H.264 is fine. Now, if you're used to like all these settings of bit rates and all that, you can go into that just by setting like constant bit rate, and you can change all this. But I usually just choose one of the, think of these as like presets, right? So high quality is probably good enough for most people. If you want to go even higher quality, perceptually lossless will mean it's almost the highest quality possible, so there's no loss. Lossless would put it at no loss at all, so it's like the highest quality. I don't think you ever need that. Like, perceptually lossless is probably fine for like more than every case you would need, right? So perceptually lossless, and that's it. Oh, audio, we don't have any audio. If you wanted to, you could add in sound here if you wanted to. We don't have audio, so I'm going to set the audio codec to no audio. I don't think it makes a difference to the output, but anyway. And that's it. So now what do you do to export this? The same as before, it's render animation. And what this does is it just chews through those frames in the sequence. And you can see at the bottom there how fast it's going. And it's going to fade out. Boop. And that's it. So the reason it did that, by the way, is like, because like how would it know like not to render from the camera? Because we just said render animation. It's because in your, oh, where is it? Way at the bottom there on my face. We've got post-processing and it's set to sequencer, right? And if it detects anything in your sequencer, if it detects anything in this strip here, it will then render this instead of what is in the camera. So that's how it knows to use those frames instead of render. Anyways, all to say, look, we have our video. Playing nicely, holds, oh, soak it up, look at them donuts, fade out. Ta-da. So well done, you did it. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the series. If you want a challenge, ooh, why not create some donut variations? You could change the color of the icing and then model some star-shaped sprinkles, and then you've got a patriotic donut scene. You could use the polygon add-on to import some of our free candles, and then some moonlight for a moody candlelight donut scene. You could experiment with some different marble textures. There's a lot there. You could make the sprinkles gold. You could add in some whiskey glasses, a serving board for a high-class, expensive donut-looking scene. You could decorate it with fruit and palm tree models for a tropical-themed donut scene. Or you could add in some pumpkins, change the colors around, and you've got a fall-themed donut scene. There's a lot that you could do, so have a stab. Have a go at it and try to elevate this and make the donut scene your own, because that's where the real learning comes in. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in a future video.
go again. Switch.
If you've ever wanted to learn how to do things like 3D modeling in a 3D software like Blender, for example, this tutorial is aimed at absolute beginners, by which I mean I'm going to be approaching it from the perspective of somebody that's never even opened up Blender. I'm going to be showing you how to move around, how the basic navigational things work, and the goal of this tutorial is to show you how to get started with modeling your first ever object. In this case, we're going to be modeling this really basic little character here. It's not fancy or posh like some of the other tutorials I've done and modeling techniques on my channel. This one is really going to be kept absolutely basic, very low poly, by which I mean the amount of points and faces and things you're going to be selecting are going to be to an absolute minimal to make it as simple as possible. I'm also going to be showing you guys how to use modifiers in Blender, which are these things over here. So one I'm going to be showing you how to use is a mirror modifier. And this mirror modifier allows you to be modeling on one side and it mirrors over to the other side. And this is something that really saves you a lot of time and it makes for a more consistent, even topology. And then I'm going to show you how to add a subdivision surface modifier, which is this thing here, which just smooths out your model. We're pretty much going to be starting with a default primitive object. In this case, it's going to be the default cube. And once we've modeled it, we're going to end up with this here. So once again, absolute beginners. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. And this gets you a good start with Blender. So let's get started with this absolute beginners tutorial in Blender. Quickly touch on it. If you go to blender.org and then you go up to the top and you click on the download section, you can download a version of Blender. So in this case, it says download Blender 2.92. For me, I downloaded it and it made a zip folder, which was in my, and I just put it into a builds folder. So I'll quickly show you here. If I go to builds, anywhere in your computer, and you can just, I'm just going to run Blender 2 and run mine, right? So very well organized, and it's better than a lot of other softwares I've used in the past. So what you're going to do is, if you want to move around in Blender, one of the main ways to do that is if you have a mouse, you're just going to click and hold in the scroll button, the up and down scroll button, able to turn the middle mouse to move side to control or out. So you guys don't have to do this. And I've got an add-on in Blender that I'm using that just allows you guys to see what I'm pressing. So I'm going to just enable that. This is not something that you guys will see in your version of Blender because I've specifically downloaded and installed this as an add-on. But you can now see down here the keys you have usually a front view. So if you have a number, so let's quickly go ahead and add in a mirror modifier. And now we need to select our geometry and just move it to the side. So what we're going to actually do is we can hit A to select all of the geometry. Then in our front orthographic view, we can go G, X, and move it over to the side. You can see it's actually mirrored on this side here. And over here, you can see that's our X axis. The X axis you can also see up here. This little gizmo shows us the X goes this way, right? The Z goes up and down like this. And then the Y goes goes like that. But that's from our right orthographic view, which we're not working in currently. So just hit 1 to go back to your front orthographic view. And over here, you can see we have the cube mirrored onto X. You can also change these, by the way. So you can change them like this if you want to work on different axes, but we won't be doing that. Just focus on the X for now. But what we also want to do is we want to come over here and enable clipping. When we enable clipping and we take this cube and we go G, X, remember it's all selected because we hit A to select everything. So we're going to go G, X, and we're going to move it in, and you can see these are clipping together now. They're in the middle. So we're going to bring it in just about this much, and you can see they're clipping together. See there, and if we hit G and then X to move it back on the X, so hit G and X, move it this way, you can see they're kind of stuck together, and that's what clipping is for, which is all good. Now they're fused together, and whatever we do on this side, we'll copy on that side. But at the moment, if we hit Z, so if you hit Z on your keyboard, you can go to what we call wireframe, so you can actually see through this. And at the moment, there is actually a face in between these two, which we don't want. So guys, there's actually a face here. If I just come over here and I hide the modifier, you can see there's a face in here. So let's just go to face select this face by clicking on it, then hit X and delete that face. Once again, select it, hit X and just delete the face. Now we can just bring that back and make sure clipping is enabled. So now what we can do is we can hit A again to select all of the geometry, and this time we want to flatten it but on the Y axis, this one over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit S to scale, and we're going to go Y and we're going to scale it down on the Y to flatten it. So about this much. Okay, if you hit 1 to go back to your front orthographic view, you can hit G, X, and you can move it like this. So we want something that looks like this, and then from the side looks like that. Doesn't have to be exact, but just roughly these proportions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our portions, then from you can move it like, okay, if you hit 1 to go back to your front orthographic view, you can hit G, X, and you can move it like this. So we want something
switch. Error. Reboot. Download sequence started. Downloading. Error. Reboot. Starting up. Downloading.
So this is version 1.3 of my adjustable mannequin, and it allows you to dynamically control the proportions of a mannequin using sliders and the rig. You can simply move the sliders and pose your character for pretty nice results, or you can get more advanced and start modifying the rig and mesh directly. I use this for most of my character models, and it's a quick and easy way to get a nice base mesh to start sculpting, or to use as a base for drawing. The big new feature this time around is the adjustable fantasy body parts, which gives you customizable wings, horns, ears, and tails. I'll explain all of those features in a minute because there's a lot to explain, but if you want to know more about them, skip to this time or navigate to this chapter in the video. Keep in mind, this is for intermediate Blender users. You'll need to know how to navigate Blender and also know how Blender's rigging tools work. It's not going to do everything for you. Also, a quick disclaimer, this is not an add-on. This is simply a Blender file that contains the customizable models and rigs. There is a lot to cover, so in the description you'll find timestamps for everything, and I've broken the video up into multiple chapters that will explain the different sections. Also, go and check out the full documentation on my website. It has everything explained in bite-sized chunks with videos showing you every part of the process, and this video is basically just the documentation in video format. Through the website,
Hey guys, today we're creating Hornet from Hollow Knight. This video will be mostly in real time so you can follow along, and you can always refer to the keyboard shortcuts at the lower right of the 3D viewport. Now let's jump in and start modeling. First, I go to front view and drag and drop my reference. Enable X-ray mode by Alt-Z to see. I go to front view and drag and drop my reference. Enable X-ray mode by Alt-Z to see it better, and I'll just move my reference to the center and above the floor. Now go here and check opacity and set it to 0.5. Go to Filter, Restriction Toggles, and select this, then turn this off. Restriction Toggles, and select this, then turn this off. This will help us avoid selecting our image while modeling. Now select the cube and move it up. Tab to go to edit mode, scale it down, Ctrl R to add a loop, and delete the half vertices. Select these and E to extrude it up. Up. Remember that we're still on X-ray mode, so you can still select the verts at the back. Add two. Control R to go to edit mode, scale it down, Control R to add a loop, and delete the half vertices. Select these and E to extrude it. Up. Remember that we're still on X-ray mode, so you can still select the verts at the back. Add 2 loops and move it like so. Then move these verts to get a rough shape of the head. For the other side of the head, add a mirror modifier and turn on clipping to merge the middle verts. Add a subsurf and type in to the other side of the head, add a mirror modifier and turn on clipping to merge the middle verts. Add a subsurf and type in tooth. Now shape the head by moving the verts. Go to side view and scale this down a bit along the y-axis. Go back to object mode, Control A, then select visual geometry to mesh to apply all our modifiers at once. For the eyes, go back to edit mode, select these faces and